You are also the same person who told me that you would live in a haunted house.
I would if it's cheap enough.
Bro!
Cool.
Welcome one
Welcome many.
to your house of enlightenment. A place for insight and fun facts, dumplings and somethings. A place where we talk about the dumplings in life and hopefully you guys learn something. I'm your chef, Donald Myers, and I'm here with my
Sous chef.
sparring partner.
Chayuki.
Big up yourself, dog. And yeah, we hope that you guys enjoy it. Let's get right into it. Yeah? Alright, bro. Halloween.
When's Halloween? Is it
At end of the month, October.
is it the 30th? Is it always the same date?
It's always the same date.
I don't ever remember what date it was. I know it's October.
End of October. End of-
Do
to
you
be
know,
honest,
do you know the date?
I think
No.
it's the 30th as well.
All right.
Don't quote me, guys. The reason that, for me, Halloween is not so big because culturally it's not really celebrated in my side of the Caribbean.
Trini? Oh, okay.
With that said, obviously we have media, and with media, there's American Halloween, so everybody
Exactly.
there's Halloween parties.
White people Halloween.
Yeah, doggy. But as far as people in TNT dressing up as ghouls and goblins, no.
No, it doesn't happen.
You also have a spiritual side about it, like from a spiritual perspective. People, it's frowned upon.
Is it all right? But Halloween was never part of a spiritual practice, or I don't know, came from a historical background. I think Halloween just came out of nowhere.
No. It's like his I could be wrong, but I know it's a day like they used to. It's called like the Day of the Dead. Oh, bad, ladies and gents. That was not an educated deduction from Dumplings and something. Please don't come for us in the comments.
Why do I smell bullshit? Day of the Dead.
Where like you mourn the dead by dressing up like them and being your goons and goblins. I could be very wrong right now.
This is a part where we need to Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not.
What's my phone?
But it doesn't have to be now. We would have to find out somehow. But you might be right. I don't know. Maybe because I binge on a series that has touched on every part of Western spirituality, and somehow in the series Supernatural spoke about Halloween.
Supernatural.
Yeah.
All right. I love that you brought up that.
Yeah.
For example, you once asked me about witches and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something, and you tell me how you feel about it.
Yeah. Talk.
On my side of the world, witchcraft is not called witchcraft, but it's very much witchcraft. It's called Obeah.
Yeah.
Obeah, and in other parts of the world, they might call it voodoo.
Correct.
Obeah, voodoo, witchcraft, different synonyms. Right? And in the Caribbean, we call them Obeah men, Obeah woman, or seer woman, or seer man.
Right.
Someone who does not practice the traditional religious practices that you are grown with in your household.
Correct.
If you grew up Muslim, if you grew up in Hindu, if you grew up Christian,
Nope.
in my side of the world, Rastafarian, people who do not practice those types of practices that are quote unquote traditional religious practices, and they would be looked upon as dark people.
Alien.
Yeah, alien. And I'm just putting this out there, bro. I'm just putting this out there. For example, the Caribbean was colonized.
Correct.
Right? Before the time of colonization, there was practices already in whatever different type of spiritual beliefs the indigenous people had, or the enslaved Africans had, before we were like taught about Christ or whatnot. And what if those practices that we have been doing very, very traditionally, even before those times when we learned about, for example, in Christianity, where we learned about Catholicism, what if those practices would have been, quote unquote, considered normal And then
then came the mass
then
religion.
Then came the mass religion, and where you had to almost practice in the dark. Whoa! I just had it just click. It's almost like you practice it privately.
Correct.
Your very traditional, whatever beliefs that you had.
But
in
meanwhile,
some types of Christianity, for example, I'm just finishing this. In some types of Christianity, in the Caribbean, we have something called Shouter Baptists. Have you ever heard of it?
Nope.
Shouter Baptists are in Christianity, there's different denominations. There's Catholic, there's Anglican, there's full gospel,
and this
Pentecostal,
Mm.
Baptists, right? And Baptists, when you come from like a different denomination of Christianity and you go to like a Baptist church, even though they preach Christ, their rituals are different. It's very loud. It's very expressive.
That's why I shout to Baptists.
Yeah, they shout, they scream. They have different types of rituals, but if you look at the history of it, it looks very African heritage.
Right.
The dances they do and whatnot, and that's where like the enslaved would carry what they traditionally knew in their practices and somewhat align it with the new wave of modernized Christianity that they were taught.
Right.
And then now comes this type of Shouter Baptist.
It's called Shouter Baptist.
It's called Shouter Baptist.
Right.
Or if you Google it on the internet, it might just call Baptist. You know.
Right.
But I'm saying I end my point saying like, what if our extremely traditional practices would have been just normal, but now it's considered taboo or witchcraft or obeah?
I think so. I think as the mass gets.
I hope I explained that right. I hope you got what I was trying to.
You do have a point. I do somewhat believe that at some point of time before the mass gets educated about specific religion or mass religion.
Can I have my brownie?
Yes, please. I brought you brownies.
Finish your religion talk.
We digress shortly to have food, snacks. Maybe not dumplings, but
we're
having pastries.
Some pastries today for Halloween. I bought Yuki donuts.
In the shape of a cat.
In the shape of a cat for Halloween, and he baked me brownies for his birthday last week. By the way, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Right, back to your top point.
Yes, you did make. What I meant to say is that you made points about what if certain old, traditional, outdated practice would have been a normal today if it weren't for mass education taught us about very specific things that are well received back then, or maybe we were pushed to receive, you know, and then we somehow ostracize. No, that's a big word.
I think ostracize is right.
Ostracize. We leave our ancient practices, you know, and
ancient was the word I was looking for.
Somehow we deem these old practices as taboo or something alien or no longer beneficial for the human race, frowned upon. You know, but who knows? It could just be something normal. I mean, at least it was normal for our ancestors
at that time,
you know.
But now it's like
now everybody thinks it's some hoodoo stuff.
Now, don't get me wrong. I've heard some stories.
Yeah,
but the stories in my home country are always painted with a negative light.
Always. Anything that is alien will always be painted negatively.
Very right. For example, we call voodoo, we call witchcraft obeah, like I said.
Yeah.
We have people call obeah men and obeah women. Now, the stories you would hear, like, you would always hear somebody in a village talking stories about this obeah man or this obeah woman.
Yeah.
Someone who practices witchcraft by, I don't know, having a head of a chicken or the finger of a...
Sacrificials.
Yeah, sacrificials, the finger of a monkey. And people go to these people for different things. Like if they want wealth in their life, if they want to get a particular love partner, if they want to have a child. And obviously, you have to find some type of barter, some type of trade with this
Correct.
Obeah man or Obeah woman. But that is the part that I'm unclear about. What do you trade for this that you are asking for? And that's where it gets spooky.
It
You
does.
get me? Like I've heard stories of, people go into like a Obeah man to put a curse on the ex-girlfriend or the ex-wife. And I was like, bro, this is too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
And meanwhile, we're wondering. The things we heard most are the curses, but never the blessings. Maybe there are.
You hear the blessings in the modern day church now.
No, what I meant is for the
But
Obeah. The Obeah.
for the Obeah, like you
The
never hear the good.
The Obeah or the witches in general.
You never hear the good.
Because in magic, or I would call it magic in my terms, I don't remember what is it for my culture, Chinese culture, but in English terms, I suppose, as how the Westerners would name it, white and black magic. So the black magics are usually the curse. The white magic are supposed to be the blessings. And nobody speaks of white magic, but more about black magic. Even back home, the Malays in my country, they are familiar with this. They call it the Bomoh. The Bomoh is witchcraft or witch, but Bomoh is the witch.
I think that's the title for this episode: Obeah and
Bomoh. Obeah and Bomoh.
Yeah.
But that's for the Malays. For Chinese, I don't remember. I think it's just basic spiritual practitioners that could exercise blessings and curses. But I probably need to dive into it. Since we come to this topic, I need to somehow find out eventually.
Insights.
Insights. Insights.
This time next year, you'll
Every
know.
races probably have their own very specific black and white magic and specific practitioners. Like Obeah, Bomoh. Indians might have it too. I don't know.
They definitely would have their own as well.
Yeah.
Some type of voodoo.
Some type of voodoo usually. It involves materials putting together, and you need a recipient. Someone receives the end of the magic. So I do fear that even in today's context, I still do fear them, and I never try to.
Did you see feel?
I never try fear. Sorry,
Yeah.
fear. I fear for these practices, and I only hear about them. I never try to go speak to one. Would be interesting to speak to one actually to find out. Okay, maybe there are white magic that could be done. Maybe
I have a story.
might want to take a quick pause.
Let's pause.
Rerun the camera.
And we'll be right back after these messages for my story. All right. So, I've worked many different types of jobs in my entire life, right? For those of you all who don't know, I don't know how you don't know by now, but Yuki and I are architects in Germany. Before I studied architecture, I studied civil engineering. When I studied civil engineering, I worked in a local supermarket in my home country. Now it's called Massey Stores. When I was younger, it was called Hilo. And for this story, I'm going to call it Hilo. Right?
Right.
I was a rapper. A rapper is basically a fancy name for a bag boy. I would bag your groceries up, put it in your trolley, and I would carry it to your car.
And then you write some rhymes.
No. Not kind of right. Fun fact, when I was signing up for the position, I didn't know how to spell it properly, so I
You wrote
spelled it.
RAPP.
Yeah. I was like, I'm so stupid. Anyway, so when I was a rapper, after a while, you get very confident in wrapping up your goods. You know how to separate your detergents from your breads, and obviously from your eggs and your hard stuff and your soft stuff. You get a system. This woman comes into the supermarket, Yuki-san. Chocolate, dark woman, tall.
Dark woman.
Not very brawly, skinny, long dreadlocks, long nails,
Like Whoopi.
long body,
No,
like Junior Gong Long.
Junior Gong Long.
Junior Gong is the son of Bob Marley.
Okay.
Long dreadlocks, long nails, big necklaces, different types of forms and shapes, extravagant colors. And everybody in the supermarket is watching her. Big straw hat. You can't see her
Mysterious.
eyes properly. Mysterious. Mystique, if you would. Everybody's watching her, bro. People, customers watching her when they walk past her, when she walks past them in the aisles. The cashiers and the rappers are looking at her. Everybody getting this type of spooky vibe. People are making a way for her to walk past because she fits the description of what we would call a Obeah woman, a seer woman, a witchcraft woman, if you will. And she comes to the front of the supermarket now with her trolley, with her few goods that she wants to buy. Now remember, in a supermarket, you see everyone from a pauper to a prime minister. Everyone has to go to the supermarket. So even the Obeah woman has to go to the supermarket.
Of course. Obeah woman gotta eat.
She gotta eat. She comes to the front now. All the rappers, we all young teenagers, all of us know each other because there's a culture of getting tips when you carry the trolley out to the person.
Of course.
The person,
Provide services.
Yeah, it's not mandatory, but in my part of the world, tipping is a normal part of our culture. You give you a tip. All the rappers look at each other and all of them start to shake their head like, I don't want to go buy. I don't want to go to rap her stuff. I was the youngest rapper, I was the new guy. They tell me go. So I go to this lady. I remember she has a straw hat. I can't see her eyes. I'm just seeing her nose and her mouth. And she's there. And I'm trying to be the most polite because I don't want her to put any hex on me. This is the time when I don't know anything much about Obeah. It's just frowned upon.
Correct.
So I'm like, you want the egg separately? You want your bread separately? Trying to make her very happy, so I have no problems. If she has to do any hex, it has to be good fortune. She lifts up. She looks up and she looks up, and from an angle where she looks down from her hat, she looks at me and she said, "Thank you. You can separate the eggs." So I wrap it up. And now she only has a small amount of items, so I'm holding it in my hands. I don't have it in a trolley. And I'm like, "Can I carry it to your car?" She's like, "Yes, come with me to my car." I am scared, buddy, on the inside, because I don't know what I'm going to. I go to this car, old car, like a Datsun. I don't know if you remember what that is.
I think I might know.
We'll get back to it. We go to her car. Normally, I would give the client their bags and just dip. No, not dip, sorry. Linger a bit to wait for a tip. So I'll slowly walk away and they'll be like, "Oh, no, wait. Because I want my tips." With this girl, I gave her bags and I wanted to go. She said, wait. She looks at me. She doesn't hold out any money, but she holds out her hands.
Right.
Like this. Just open palms, like she wants to receive something. She says, "I don't have any cash, but I can..." She said, she doesn't say anything much. She says, "I don't have any cash, but I can give you something." In my mind, I'm thinking, what's she talking about? Give me something. I don't know what else she wanted to offer. Maybe she wanted to offer me like a bread from her bag or something. Or maybe like a gift coupon or something. Maybe she was a businesswoman.
Right.
I don't know. I was like, no, it's good. It's good. No problem. She said, "Are you sure?" I said, "I'm fine." And everything, she speaks in a slow voice. I get my ass back into the supermarket. Everybody from the cashiers and the rappers come to me. What does she want? What does she want? Because they are looking at her from the supermarket through the window to the cars.
Yeah.
And I say in local terms, I was like, "She wanted to give me something." They asked me, what she want to give you? I say, "I don't know. I didn't ask for it." To this day, I wonder what it is she wanted to give me. Now, it could have been, like I just said, it could have been she could have had a business and she wanted to give me a coupon. But because of the stereotypes of
around witches
and Obeah women and Obeah men and how they're supposed to look, and she matched the description, I was like, I'm guaranteed.
There's already instinctively you built a sense of fear or a sense of
like,
suspicion.
I was like, if that is the Obeah woman, I want to make sure the Obeah woman is happy, not me. I'm going to make sure she's happy.
Correct.
And that was that.
But I do remember there was once when you told
moral of the story.
When you told me the story, it was another time when you spoke about it.
There's a moral to the story.
Moral.
Make sure to separate your bread from your eggs.
Separate your bread to the egg.
Okay.
But you did once spoke about. I remember we spoke of the story to other friends, or was it just between you and me? You mentioned that the Obeah women did also read you.
Read me.
She read you when you were hesitating, and then she said that you were under stress, or that you have some concerns in your life.
That's a different story.
That's a different story
for a different time.
Oh,
that one is.
That wasn't the Obeah.
That wasn't Obeah.
Oh,
that was a Shouter Baptist.
That
was a Shouter Baptist who seems to. That's a different story for a different time.
Right, fair. We saved that for a different.
We saved that for different time. Next year Halloween.
Right. Cool. Yeah. Don't separate your bread from the eggs. Okay. Yeah. All right. Also, if a woman looking very suspicious, treat her well.
Yeah. Regardless. Yeah. I want to just dip the tangent a little bit. We had a small conversation about death.
Yeah.
Going with the theme of today's podcast for Halloween, we want to talk about the rituals of how people handle the dead in Chinese, Malay, heritage.
Chinese and Malay, Muslims.
Chinese and Muslims.
We somehow touch on the topic, but Indians, maybe we could talk about it too. But I'm no expert.
Can we? Should we?
No. Right. We could go on for another.
Tell me.
5 to 8 minutes.
Tell me. In Malaysia, if someone dies, not to make it too dark, okay, but what is the typical ritual? Meaning, is it just like a quick funeral? Is there a large gathering?
Let me grab my coffee quick.
Do that, doggy. Do that.
Continue.
In TNT, you are either buried or cremated. Yeah?
Yes.
You're burnt or you're buried.
Burn or you're buried. In casket.
That is the thing. Depending on your religious belief, it's different. So for Christians who are being cremated, you're in a casket and you go into an oven. We have a professional crematorium.
Correct.
They have ovens. They put the casket inside there.
Correct.
When it's typical. When so much of my family members have been cremated, like when they open the oven, everyone is just crying because they see the flames. However, if you're of Indian heritage and you practice Hindi, I guess. Hinduism, thank you. You're also burnt, but your body is wrapped and it's burnt on top of a large, I don't need official name, I apologize guys. It's burnt on top of a large stack of
wooden piles.
Wooden piles, almost like how they burnt Troy in Helen of Troy.
Yeah. Sounds like a Roman burial or a Roman cremation or...
Yeah, that's how they do it.
I think also Scandinavians. Something like a Nordic... the Nordic burial.
So your body is wrapped and it's burnt in a special location.
Interesting.
So there's no casket going into the oven.
Correct. Sustainable.
Wow. And if you're Muslim, you are buried very quickly.
You're wrapped up.
To my knowledge, not in a casket, or maybe a very basic casket and just buried very, very quickly. Literally, if you die today, maybe by the day after tomorrow, you're in the ground. You know.
Correct.
Yeah. How's it done in Malaysia?
Well, as you speak, as you mentioned, that Muslims are wrapped up and buried. Christians are in caskets, buried or cremated. Chinese, same.
Yeah.
Wait. Yeah, Chinese either in caskets and buried or caskets in cremation.
Now in TNT, we have a culture called a wake. A wake, I don't know what they call it in different regions. A wake is basically the time between the person has died until the funeral, where people come over and they stay awake with you during the evenings when you're feeling sad and you're grieving a little bit, and they hang out and you cook and you talk good things about the past, the person that just died, and they do this nightly. You, the person who. Sometimes people bring stuff for you to eat. You could also entertain by having a bit of cookies or sweets for them, coffee.
Oh, even a buffet if you want to.
And
At least for Chinese.
And
Chinese
they do
way.
this for a few days until the day of the actual funeral.
Funeral, correct.
Which is like if you want to call this ritual, the closing off.
Yeah.
Is there a wake culture in Chinese culture?
Yes. I think in Malays as well.
And what do they call it?
I think generally we just do have a so-called wake. I don't remember how it is called in my language, neither Malay. I never really inquire that information. I just know such thing happen. Before a funeral, there's always a short period of time where the deceased is embalmed.
Yo, you're just using the right words today, bro.
Yeah, I do. I think.
Yeah, go for it.
No, because
you hit me with that deceased and that embalm.
Deceased and embalm. You know it. You know
ahead.
it. So the deceased is embalmed and then they lay in a casket for you to have
To
your
view?
to view. Yeah, have your last goodbyes.
I've heard of that, but that is.
And then
the viewing is at the funeral.
No, at home.
Where's the casket?
Your grandpa sleeping with you for a week.
Wait. The body
In the
at
casket
house?
is at home.
Embalmed
And
until the day of the funeral.
until the day.
No, sir.
Because one thing is that the deceased is I don't know for how long it's at the home of the family. What I do remember was seeing maybe one night when the day of this we call it a I call it a funeral buffet because it's like it's the night before the parade
Of the
funeral parade.
will be the day of the funeral.
Correct. So the night before
celebration of the person who died.
Correct. So the night before at home of the deceased family, they would set up like a kind of a, I won't call it not a ceremony, but I couldn't find the right word for it. Just basically a buffet set up at home with the deceased also in the house, so that everybody would be still recording. Good.
Yeah.
So everybody would be sort of enjoying or mourning, eating, socializing, and meanwhile viewing the deceased for one last time.
Okay.
And then until the next day, you would go on a parade and bring the deceased to the cemetery.
Well, let's pause there, and we continue after the next segment. All right, I'm going to be very transparent with you, broski.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to be very transparent with you.
Go.
I don't know if I'm comfortable seeing that dead person in the house in a casket. For example, like, I just wouldn't feel comfortable.
I think when we think about it, it kind of sounds very creepy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. At that time, when I see I think it was my grandfather, you didn't feel as alien. Because firstly, it's the person's embalmed, and it doesn't look as unpleasant.
Yuki, there's a casket in the living room.
Yeah, true.
We eating dinner. Do we take out a plate?
We take a plate for grandpa.
Yeah, take out a plate for grandpa.
It was a little sad. I mean, I think mostly people felt sadness rather than this, or maybe an estrangement. You see somebody close to you passed away, but still looking fresh. I mean, embalmed in a casket, laying in a casket. It's just like that person sleeping, you know.
You just said embalmed, and I have a small story.
Yeah.
I have a lot of stories, bro.
We have stories.
I've lived
you have multiple lives.
Trust me. I used to talk in a past life. I used to talk to a young lady. She worked in a mortuary.
Mortuary, right?
Can't find my words today. So she would have to embalm the bodies and prep them for the ceremony of the funeral. Put them in suits, put them in dresses, and you would be surprised the amount
of work.
That is a lot of work. One, but you would be surprised about the stories you hear of what you find in the pockets of dead people. Yeah. From money to jewelry to sometimes you hear stories of how some staff members, remember these are dead people that you have to close their mouths and put a smile on their face for the funeral. But like some people like back in the older generations would have gold teeth.
Yeah,
You know?
gold caps.
Gold caps.
Yeah.
Some people would take off the
Steal.
caps, go melt that, get it
Wow.
to. How can you steal from a dead person, bro?
Hey,
Like,
you gotta do what you gotta do.
yeah, but there's taboos, bro. Like people, like here we go back to the story. Me stealing something off of a dead person would look like a taboo in my home country. Like people would be like, nah, I don't want no dead man gold. You get me?
Any spiritual person would say that. It's correct. It's valid. Yeah.
They would watch that like, I don't want no heavy spirits following
Because spirits, correct. Spirits are tied to objects that they possess.
You're damn right. Horcruxes.
Horcruxes, yeah.
Harry Potter fans. And there's another culture from a religious belief. We were raised with something called 40 days.
40 days.
40 days in TNT or maybe, or definitely other parts of the Caribbean, but I don't know what they call it exactly. The names would be different, but the rituals would be similar.
Right.
Is where someone has died, but it is believed that the spirit...
It's attached to the object.
No, the spirit has not left the home. The home
has
not transcended.
Has not transcended. Yeah.
To either up or down or around and around, wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
But it's almost like in a state of lost, like trying to
Limbo.
understand. Yeah,
Limbo.
like what has happened. He hasn't actually realized that it's time to move on. So like this 40 days is where, because after the death and after the funeral, you count 40 days and that's when you consider the time when the spirit has actually moved on. Out. I've heard my parents talk about stories like my dad lives with this story, bro. He tells me my grandfather died before I was born. My father's father.
Right.
And he used to wear a particular type of cologne. Yeah. When he died, there was a funeral. This is what I'm hearing. My father told me and my aunt also told me. After the funeral and after all that jazz, these are a few days after the funeral, my aunt said she was cooking in the kitchen and then this wind passed.
And then she got a whiff
of the cologne that my grandfather used to wear.
Wow.
And my aunt said she remembers saying my grandfather's name and saying, it's time to go. Go ahead. Because apparently my granddad used to help my aunt cook or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's almost of the impression like he came to help her cook as usual.
Right.
And when she got the smell, she was like, go on, don't stay here. So going back to the story about taking an item from a dead person.
Yeah.
Not me, buddy. Not me.
It's not great.
Leave that right there.
If you're spiritual, it's not the best thing
I go
to
buy
do.
my goal. I don't want it from no dead person.
For an atheist, he or she probably
yeah,
wouldn't
she would be
care.
like, give me that goal, bro.
Yeah.
Give me
Take
that
it.
goal.
Person
That's a nice necklace. That's a nice necklace.
A person gotta do what a person gotta do.
You damn right.
Yeah. If it's gold, you don't ask twice.
Let's talk about a topic that we just briefed on. Cemeteries.
Cemeteries.
All
Damn,
right.
plenty to talk about.
We have a lot, but for the sake of this episode, the battery gonna die on the laptop.
Battery's gonna die on a laptop? Let's take a quick pause. Yeah.
Basically just saying that in Germany, the cemeteries are beautiful here. And the ritual of walking through a cemetery is embraced here. You go, you pay respects to the dead, and then you look at the beautiful flora and fauna, and you look at the types of the ways that they build around the graveyard, as you say, the pavilions.
Correct.
Back home, less than more. Not so pretty, not so romanticized. Overgrown in some areas, unkept, checked maybe once a year, unless it's like a military cemetery or whatever.
Yeah.
And if there is some type of construction and tombs and whatnot, it's spooky.
Yes. I think cemeteries back home are usually a lot more spookier than it is in Europe. Europe just had their cemeteries decorated.
Yeah.
And also plan it in such a way that on a normal day you could take a jog in a cemetery.
Yeah, like it's not weird.
It's not weird, correct? Yeah.
It's embraced. Go have a walk through the cemetery. Look at the ages. Look at the names. But like back home, it's like it's scary. Also in my country, a lot of the destitute or the paupers, they stay at the cemeteries because they find shelter. So like there are a lot of bums who just kind of like, when I say bums, I mean like people who just beg
loitering around, yeah,
and they stay at the cemetery, and it becomes a kind of a spooky, unsafe space.
Exactly. I think it's just a combination of very unpleasant human interactions that makes it that makes the cemetery. It kind of just brings up the spookiness.
You think
because of people.
You think if you offered some good real estate, but they say it's next to a cemetery, for like
I think if it's next to a beautiful cemetery, I don't mind.
I used to work with a co-worker. Remember I told you I've worked many lives. I lived
yes,
many lives.
Yes, you do.
I used to work as a
real estate agent.
A benzene engineer, a gas engineer.
Gas engineer.
Fun fact: TNT, natural resources, natural gas, and oil.
Right.
Not that much ecotourism. Anyway, I digress. I remember one of my co-workers, he said he lives next to a cemetery. And me, being a younger man at that time, I remember looking at him and I was like, you don't feel kind of afraid living next to a cemetery? Because I'm thinking about the spirits and stuff. And he was like, let me tell you something. I don't have to worry about the dead people, It's the living I have to be concerned about.
That is well said.
I was like, after he said that, I was like, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the concerns of dead people are usually portrayed in movies. In real life, I don't think so. It's very hard to say. Maybe coming from a not so spiritual person, I don't see that an issue. But for some people who are really, really spiritual, they say
and somewhat paranoid.
Can be slightly disturbing.
Yeah, it can be disturbing. For me, no, I'm like, it wouldn't bother me. I think what would bother me is like the amount of funerals every minute outside my neighborhood. I'll be like, come on, man, I just wanna drive my car.
I just wanna live for a day. I don't wanna hear somebody dying.
Hearing people crying outside and you're burying, that might be annoying to me.
I mean, that's fair. Given if you're living alone next to a cemetery, that might be a little concerning. But if you're living, say, in a neighborhood that's next to a cemetery, it's not too bad. It's not half bad.
Next to the cemetery.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
You are also the same person who told me that you would live in a haunted house.
I would if it's cheap enough.
Bro, I'm not going, Yuki. I don't care how cheap it is.
I worry about my death more than the ghost that lives in my house. Makes sense.
Don't invite me over for no dinner, bro. Don't invite me over for no dinner.
I would invite Jack to do my accounting.
Who's Jack? The ghost?
Jack the ghost. Jack the Ripper.
Don't invite me to your house. As a matter of fact, I would be so cautious about receiving anything from you if I know you live in a haunted house. Because anything would have tied to a spirit. Anything.
Yeah, you're right.
You might just want to lend me a pen. I'll be like, I don't know.
Who touched it?
Who touched this pen? This man say he would live in a haunted house if it's cheap enough.
I will get a ghost to do my accounting.
Why you think the house so cheap?
Why do you think the house so cheap?
Why you think you got it at such a good price?
Actually, I read a lot of articles online that in America, it's younger people buying up murder houses.
Murder houses?
Yeah, where murders took place. Houses where murder took place. They go out cheap. So younger people couldn't afford actual real estate. They had to go buy a murder house. Then they don't mind. It's fine. I mean, at least for some of the YouTube videos I've seen, maybe they're YouTube, maybe not, short videos that went through my feed, they spoke about buying up murder houses. They're not even spiritual. They're not even not ghost houses, not haunted houses, but murder houses.
You said they don't mind. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like if I'm
murder
choosing,
took place.
like if
You can't afford a...
wait, let me paint the picture.
Yeah.
You said it's so casually. They
Yeah.
don't mind, it's fine. Like if you had to choose between mayonnaise or ketchup for your fries.
Yes, just like that, yes. It's like ketchup and mayo.
Bro, I don't think I could do that, bro.
Because, I mean, technically,
Just knowing that
out of sight, out of mind, you don't
outer
know.
sight, outer mind, but just knowing that that stain there on the wood grain is from the blood of the dead
the
person.
victim, yeah.
I don't know, bro. That's a different
Hey,
level,
strip
bro.
the floor and lay over a new...
I love that for you,
new
bro.
floor.
I love that for you. I love that you could overcome that, because I would have a problem with that real estate.
I think-
if I buy in that, I want the Obeah man and I want the pastor to come and bless this house.
Yeah.
The two of them.
Or you could get a murder house and bless the house before you do
I
anything
want two
to it.
blessings.
Yeah.
I want two blessings. I want the 2-for-1 special.
Get a little magic, get a little blessing, done.
Jesus.
Should be all right.
Jesus.
Or maybe say a little prayer before you buy the house and say, hey, look, move on.
Oh, fun fact.
I'm living here.
I love that you said that. So I come from a spiritual background, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. With that said, I'm also knowledgeable about the modern world. My parents are a bit more traditional with certain things. For example, and I still do it as well for big things in my life. If I get a new apartment or if I bought a car, it's pretty typical where I come from that you bless your car or you bless the house that you live in. Meaning that you find
generally
you get the person of the highest esteem in whatever type of religion you aligned with, and you ask them to come to your house, or you come to your car and they say a prayer just to bless the car and the occupants.
Yeah, general blessings are always good. Yeah.
Similar on your side?
No, I suppose so. I couldn't recall it since I don't practice them, but I suppose. Let's take a quick pause. The sunset is
you look sun-kissed.
coming through.
You look
sun-kissed.
Yeah,
it's
you look
nice.
Good. You look
you
good.
too. Yes, back to the topic of blessings. At least what I've seen on TV, where Christians would get a pastor or someone of higher esteem come over and bless it with maybe holy water or whatever.
Anointing oil.
Some kind of live spraying, as I would call it.
Yeah, go for it.
Buddhists, but for Chinese, I suppose they would go to the temple and light up some incense.
Like
Mulan. Like Mulan. Yeah, there are statues, sculptures of gods in the temple where you would pray to them. So you would go
for blessings.
Go
on this piece of property or whatever.
Correct, but it's not exactly someone coming over to your place and does the blessing.
Okay.
Or rather, you go to pray to a god. Hopefully, the god blesses you. Hopefully.
Okay. So it's not that strange.
No.
Okay.
I think you
think it's strange in Europe? I definitely know it's not practiced here. In Germany.
Well, firstly, in Germany, people are getting more agnostic than before.
Yeah.
So the actual
the
actual Christians are not as I won't call it extreme, but not as traditionally practiced. People will go to church. That's enough. You don't go the extra mile getting blessings.
Not only that, but I would confidently say the younger generation do not go, and if they go to church, they go for like weddings,
correct,
major events. But typical Sunday, less than more. Maybe the parents, and definitely the grandparents.
Parents, correct.
Yeah. Like today, I went to church, but I think that was a wonderful episode, bro.
I think so too.
Anything else on your mind that you need to get off your chest?
No. Speaking of spirituality, I think in the modern day, spirituality is more of it's becoming more like a business. We touched on it out of the podcast.
As far as like having like the whole cemeteries and
cemeteries,
booking.
correct.
What did you say?
Booking a lot.
But you call it cemetery real estate?
I coined the term real estate. It's technically a real estate because you're buying up land to save a hole for your casket.
Yeah.
So it is literally real estate because over the years it gets more expensive.
It's a business that would never go out of business.
Oh,
people
for
always
sure.
dying.
Yeah, people always dying, and
if
you need
in
more
the,
spaces.
If you in the business of debt, sad to say, but you're gonna make a lot of money.
Not just that, you can only get so many hills to build cemeteries. And
You said that.
Yeah.
Actually, okay, before we end off,
funny joke.
you said
I assume, yeah,
you said the upper class
the upper class would
get buried on a hill.
higher spot on the hill.
Is this Chinese heritage or
No,
Malay
I
heritage?
highly think it's Chinese cemetery, but I think it has no spiritual relation.
So even in the dead, this is what I'm hearing. So even in debt,
You are in debt.
even in debt, there's still a hierarchy.
There's still a hierarchy.
That's after.
You're closer. The higher you're buried, you're closer you are to heaven. That's what I assume.
Yeah, but it's just a body.
Yeah. I would assume so.
And honestly, you said that, and you know what I was thinking about? I was like, my knee's not good, bro. I have to walk all the way up there to go and look after this
Exactly.
this cemetery website.
My granddad is buried somewhere up in the middle of the hill. Now, well, it's not exactly steep as well. It's a very gentle walk.
Yeah.
Up maybe 100 meters uphill, and yeah, it was a pleasant walk. But of course, there are people that are buried a lot higher, so people could actually drive their car up. The higher you are, I would assume the higher you are, the closer you are to heaven. Hence, your cemetery, your grave plot, your grave would be
Higher
slightly
real estate.
more expensive because there are degrees to the price of a burial plot.
There's also degrees to the incline of the hill.
Incline of the hill, yeah,
Boy, burn me up
crazy.
and either spread my ashes by a nice tree of my choice or over the waters.
Definitely over the water for me.
I haven't chosen which one I want yet, but sign me up for the crematorium. With that said, though, I do this might sound
Controversial,
not controversial. This might be a counter to what I just said.
right?
If it's someone of stature, teacher, prime minister, lawyer, deacon, priest,
yeah,
imam,
President. Yeah.
I don't know. The head of the book club. If it's someone that has impacted a lot of people, it would be nice to have actual burial site for you whenever you have
With
time.
a monument.
I was thinking of for you whenever you have time to go and visit that burial site. For
Right,
example, like
right.
to visit Bruce Lee's burial site.
Oh, yeah.
As compared to knowing that Bruce Lee just got cremated and they spread his ashes. I wouldn't mind visiting Bruce Lee's burial site.
It's always a personal preference, I would say. Let's say Bruce
Yeah.
Lee wants to be spread, wants his ashes to be spread across the land, and he doesn't need a monument, then it's fine. I think death, you should always, or people should always respect one's death.
And we'll end it off there. Bro.
And we ended off there.
Alright. I think that was a wonderful episode, bro.
We out?
Before we out, please subscribe, like, and enjoy our other videos. Like this video, share it with your friends. We will be working on our Patreon videos. If you want to get to know Yuki and Danzi a bit deeper and hear a little more controversial topics that we can't discuss on regular YouTube, subscribe there, please. We have a very, very small entry fee, and you're going to hear us talk about topics that you would really learn a little bit more about. All right, bye.